The NFL season is finally here, and it's time for some hot takes. Not the safe calls everyone else is making. These are my takes that might sound crazy today, but could end up being right when we look back in February of 2026. So here are my 5 hot takes for the 2025 season.
Hey.
At number 5 on my list of hot takes, I believe Caleb Williams is going to finish as a top 10 quarterback in Dynasty and in fantasy football. And I don't know why this would be such a hot take, but a lot of people are very much down on Caleb Williams. I'm not sure why. He had a very solid rookie season. Yes, he had a lot of hiccups. The offense didn't look particularly great, but he definitely had a solid stat line. And if you look at the depth chart, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Luther Burden, you've got Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet. Olamide Zaccheaus is also solid. You have a really stacked receiver room, 2 really great tight ends. DeAndre Swift is also a decent running back with Kyle Monangai, who I liked a decent amount coming out of Rutgers. So this offense is set to do some really good things outside of just the skill position players. You've got Braxton Jones, who's been solid. Joe Tooney, who, as a Chiefs fan, I love at guard. Drew Dahlman has been really good. Jonah Jackson, also solid. Darnell Wright's probably the weakest link on this offensive line. And I haven't even mentioned that they brought in Ben Johnson, who might be a top 3 play caller in the entire NFL. I know, guys, you have to be hesitant because it is the Chicago Bears, and we've been fooled before from the Chicago Bears. We always think Mitch Trubisky is going to be the next guy, right? Whatever. I think Caleb Williams is infinitely more talented than Mitch Trubisky, and Caleb Williams makes a couple of throws every single game that remind me that he can be an absolute superstar. So at number 5 on my list, Caleb Williams. Lock him in as a top 10 Dynasty quarterback and a top 10 Dynasty finish in 2025. At number 4 on my hot takes for the 2025 season, we have Tyler Warren leads the Indianapolis Colts in receiving yards this year. This is definitely a spicy take, but with Daniel Jones presumably starting the majority of the season, I do think Anthony Richardson gets his time to shine this year. I think Tyler Warren, from what we saw in preseason, he's getting a ton of targets. Josh Downs is dealing with a hamstring injury that just keeps coming up time after time. He was hurt with a hamstring injury last year. Michael Pittman has kind of looked like a shell of himself. Adonai Mitchell, we don't know if he's developing or not. And then last but not least, you have Alec Pierce, who might be a trade candidate going forward in the next couple of weeks. So that leaves Tyler Warren as like the number 1 option, in my opinion, in this offense. Tyler Warren has looked phenomenal throughout preseason. Yes, we haven't seen him take a snap in the regular season yet, so this is why it's a hot take. But I think going into week 5, week 6, and Tyler Warren's up there towards the top of receiving yards for the Colts, I don't think this is going to be a hot take anymore. So guys, you look at the offense, right? Michael Pittman Jr., he's been okay. He hasn't been great compared to what he did in 2023. Then you have, like I said, Josh Downs, who's hurt. I think if Josh Downs stays healthy for more than 12 games, I think this really hurts this take for Tyler Warren leading the Colts in receiving yards. Alec Pierce is a deep threat who I know led the team in receiving yards last year. I don't think that happens again. And like I said, he might be a trade candidate for the Colts to move on elsewhere because they just have too many guys in this offense to feed. So lock him in, guys. Tyler Warren, he's my tight end 3 in my rankings right now for Dynasty. And I think his ADP for fantasy football right now is way too low. If you're in a tight end premium league, Tyler Warren is one of the best values in fantasy football right now. So you need to draft him while you can. At number 3 on my list, this is the one that I'm probably the least confident about, and that is Kyle Williams being the wide receiver 1 for the New England Patriots by the end of the season. So I'm not going to lie, there's not too many people out there that are higher on Kyle Williams than I am. I love what this kid put on tape throughout the preseason and obviously throughout his college career. I'm also not going to lie, I wasn't super big into college when it was on last year. I wasn't really watching Washington State. I was watching other teams in college football. So I didn't really know who Kyle Williams was. And when I turned on the film, guys, he wowed me in a lot of areas. The deep speed, the releases, he can get instant separation off the line. He makes corners look stupid on film over and over and over again. You see that in the Patriots preseason game on that slant route where he was wide open and it just gets thrown way too high above him. So Kyle Williams, in my opinion, is the most talented wide receiver in this offense. And if you look at the wide receiver room, there's not much there. You know, you've got Kendrick Bourne, who hasn't done much in the last few years. Stephon Diggs is coming off an ACL injury. Jalen Polk is out for the season, basically, unfortunately for him. Tough second round selection for the Patriots. Javon Baker's more of a special teams guy. Pop Douglas is, you know, a gadget guy in the slot. So there's not a lot of guys. Kayshon Boutte could be the other outside wide receiver in this offense. I think Kyle Williams is going to be the number one guy on the outside by the end of the year. So if you guys have him on your dynasty rosters, do not trade him unless it's for an overpay, because I think this kid is going to be special in this offense, and he's got a young, talented quarterback to pair with him. I think Kyle Williams is in a phenomenal situation, so keep your eyes out for that name, Kyle Williams. Before we get further into the video, if you're enjoying the content, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. Also, if you want access to my full Dynasty rankings, you can check out the Google Doc link in the description below. It's completely free to view, and if you want to talk Dynasty all season long with the community, make sure to join the Bobby's Big Board Discord. The link is in the description. All right, let's get right back to the video. At number 2 on my list of hot takes, we have Dillon Gabriel wins the QB1 job in 2025 at some point. I think Joe Flacco will either get hurt at some point during the season. Fingers crossed that doesn't happen, but I do think at some point he's going to underperform with this offense, and they're going to trot out Dillon Gabriel. They'll probably trot out Shedeur Sanders at some point throughout the season as well, and I think Dillon Gabriel is going to outplay Shedeur and win the QB1 job probably at sometime in December. So with Dillon Gabriel, as of August 26th, he was named the QB2 on the depth chart, and Shedeur will be the emergency QB3. Like I said, I don't think that matters too much. That's just initial ranking of the quarterback on the depth chart. I fully expect if Joe Flacco doesn't come out and just be an MVP candidate, I think Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders both get to start a couple of games apiece just to see what they're doing, what they're dealing with. Yes, I know preseason doesn't really give you the most accurate look at your talent because you want to see them both in real games versus real starters on both the offensive and defensive sides of the ball. So Dillon Gabriel, in my opinion, is the most talented quarterback on that roster. He's got the most experience. He's the most consistent throughout his college career. Yes, he's a little bit shorter, which kind of scares me. But overall, I think Dillon Gabriel, he wins the QB1 job, so stash him in your leagues. I know he's rostered in most of your leagues, but try to trade for him right now if you can, since he didn't win the starting job. Try to get him at a discount, try to trade a third for him, something like that, if you can get him, because he's going to be the starting quarterback, in my opinion, of the Cleveland Browns before the year's end. At number 1 on my list, and probably the most controversial in this entire list, is De'Von Achane does not finish as an RB1, so I think he finishes as the RB13 or worse. I'm leaning towards a mid-tier RB2 season for De'Von Achane, and this is probably a little controversial because he's the RB6 right now on Keep Trade Cut, so people are really excited about him and his pass catching upside, and I cannot deny he's a phenomenal pass catcher. I've said that in videos before. I just don't think he has the consistency as a runner to be a 3-down running back. And I think with the signing of Ollie Gordon making the 53-man roster, I think Ollie Gordon's going to cut into a lot of his carries just because of how consistent he looked throughout the preseason. And obviously, we saw what Ollie Gordon can do back in 2023 with Oklahoma State. He put up some monster numbers. He was the best running back in the country that year. So guys, De'Von Achane, I think he's a big time sell in Dynasty right now. He's already hurt at this moment with a calf injury, so he should play week 1, but he's probably not going to be 100%. He's probably going to start out a little rusty. You'll see his carries kind of diminish as the season goes on, I think, because I don't think he's holding up at 188 pounds. I think Ollie Gordon's going to cut into a lot more of that workload than you guys expect. So that is my biggest prediction of the 2025 season, that De'Von Achane doesn't finish as an RB1, but finishes as a mid to low end RB2. Those are my 5 hot takes for the 2025 season. Some of them might sound crazy right now, but that is the fun of making predictions. Which one do you think has the best chance of actually happening? And what's your boldest take for this year? Drop it in the comments and let's debate. Thank you guys as always for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Hey.